Sometimes the most dangerous thing is not catching your husband cheating, it's realizing you are never the only wife. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, my name is Miss Elsa, and here we cook and we tell stories that many people relate to, even if they don't admit it. Before we start anything, let's say what we always say. I am beautiful, I am loved, and I am blessed. And if nobody reminded you today, you are too. Now, today as I'm cooking steak, yes, simple steak, nothing complicated, I'm going to tell you about Wanjiku and Kiprotich. And this story is messy. Please check everything that I'm using. I'm gonna be very clear with showing everything because I'll be narrating the story throughout. Enjoy the story. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, and share. Wanjiku lived the kind of life many Nairobi women admired. A big house in Runda, clean driveway, quiet mornings, private school drop-off, the kind of estate where security guards salute you by name. A husband, Kiprotich, was respected businessman, quiet money, not flashy, the kind of man who speaks once and people listen. The marriage had lasted 9 years, 9 calm years. No public drama, no loud fighting, no rumors, at least none that reached her. Wanjiku was beautiful in a way that didn't beg for attention. Soft calves, clean skin, perfect teeth. She dressed well but not loud. She didn't compete with anyone. She didn't chase validation. And maybe that's why what happened next hurt so deeply. It started with December trips. Every year, Kiprotich would insist on going back home alone, just to check the land, just to see my mother, just to attend a small function. At first, she didn't think much about it, but then she noticed something strange. Whenever he returned from those trips, he would be unusually distant for a few days. Not angry, not cold, just distracted. His phone would light up more often. He would step out to take calls. He started locking the bedroom door when changing, something he had never done before. Wanjiku felt it, that quiet shift, but she didn't confront him. She observed. One afternoon, while organizing documents in his home office, she found a folder receipt tucked inside a notebook. It was for livestock purchase, 2 cows, paid in full. She froze. They didn't own livestock, and the location of the receipt, it wasn't Nairobi, it was his rural home. She told herself it could be family business until 3 months later she found another receipt, cement, iron sheets, construction materials, same location, same name signed at the bottom. Kiprotich. Her chest tightened. Construction? For what? They had no project back at home, not that she knew of. That night, she asked casually about future investment. He avoided the question. That's when her suspension turned into something heavier. January came, and this time she decided to go with him. He hesitated, just slightly, but she noticed. The drive to his rural home was long and quiet. When they arrived, the compound was lively, too lively. Women were whispering, children were running around. There was a tension in the air. And then she saw it. A newly built house, fresh paint, modern windows, satellite dish. It wasn't there the previous year. She asked whose house it was. The silence that followed answered everything. Before Kiprotich could speak, a young woman stepped out of that house. Chebet, slim, light-skinned, confident. Not shocked to see him, but shocked to see Wanjiku. Behind her, a little boy ran out barefoot. The child stopped, stared, then ran straight to Kiprotich, wrapped his arm around his legs, called him father. The word didn't spin, it stopped. Wanjiku stared, didn't scream, didn't faint. She stood there, looking at the house her husband had built, looking at the woman who lived inside, looking at the child who looked like him. And suddenly, the December trip had made sense. The cement receipt, the cows, the livestock, dowry has been paid quietly, traditionally, properly. In that moment, she realized something worse than cheating. It wasn't an affair. This was a second marriage, legalized by elders, protected by silence, funded by her husband. Kiprotich finally spoke. He said it wasn't complicated. He said it was cultural. He said he didn't want to hurt her. But Chebet's face told another story. Chebet looked confused because Chebet believed she was the only wife. She had been introduced as the official one back home. Wanjiku felt something inside her break, not loudly, but permanently. She didn't argue in front of the elders. She didn't cry. She turned, walked back to the car, sat in silence. The drive back to Runda was suffocating. When they reached home, he tried to explain. He said he loved them both. He said men in his position were expected to secure lineage. Hey, Jehovah. Let's take a quick breathe in, breathe out moment. And let me tell you something, guys. Sina advice ya mapenzi, okay? But one thing I want to tell you, if you want cute night dresses, you can only find them at Elle's Fashion Line. You get me? Elle's Fashion Line got you covered with dresses. And one thing, it was my first time cooking steak. Sijawahi pika steaks kwingine. This is my first time cooking steak. So I'm not sure how it's going, but it was amazing. And I cooked it to maximum. Like, I didn't want the medium rare and all that. I wanted my meat to be well done. Yes, and it was well done and I enjoyed it. And don't mind the whole thing that I'm doing there, changing oils and all that. Niliona hizo steak hazitoshei kwa hiyo pan ndogo, so I changed into this big pan, the mother of the pans. Yeah. So guys, cute night wears only at Elle's Fashion Line. Na huko hakuna vitu expensive. I have been telling you this every time. Our outfits huko are not expensive. Kindly come and grab yours. You can only find us on TikTok and on Instagram. Na kama huwapati on both, please text me hapa. I will direct you on where you will get them, and I'm gonna be showing you pictures of the outfit. Alright, outfits of night dresses that we have, or rather night wears. I'm eating my steak with plantain and my partner is eating steak with ugali. Yep. So the ingredients are black pepper, salt, steak, butter, and rosemary. And what else? One thing remaining, garlic. Yeah. I think ni hivyo. Those are the ingredients of how to cook, to use to cook steak. And you want your steak medium rare, well done. Well, mine is well done. And from right now utaona nikipika, so just watch the video and listen to the story. Alright? Yep. He said it didn't change how he felt about her. The night she slept on the edge of the bed, wide awake. The next morning, she did something unexpected. She hired a private investigator because one house back home wasn't enough explanation. 2 weeks later, the investigator called. There was more. Chebet wasn't the only secret. There was land transfer, a joint account opened in Chebet's name, and rumors that Kiprotich had introduced her publicly. during a community ceremony as his wife, meaning Wanjiku was the secret in Nairobi, not Chebet. Everything she thought was stable began to feel stagnant. At a charity event in Runda a month later, she stood beside Kiprotich as usual, smiling, polished, elegant. But this time, she noticed something new. A woman across the room stared at her, watching her closely. The woman walked over, calm, confident, and introduced herself. Her name was not Chebet, it was someone else. And the first thing she said was, "I think we need to talk about Kiprotich." Wanjiku's heart dropped because that meant one thing. There was another layer, another secret, another compartment. The woman did not look nervous. She looked prepared. Early 30s, dark blazer, natural hair, pulled back neatly. The kind of woman who doesn't enter rooms to compete. She enters to confirm. "My name is Naliaka," she said quietly, "and I'm not here to embarrass you." That sentence alone told Wanjiku everything. Not here to embarrass you, meaning there was something embarrassing. The charity event continued around them. Soft bars playing, glasses clinking, polite laughter floating through the Runda air. Kiprotich across the lawn speaking to two county officials, unaware that another compartment had just walked up in heels. Wanjiku kept her face composed. "What about Kiprotich?" she asked calmly. Naliaka didn't waste time. "I was engaged to him." The word didn't explode. It sliced. "Engaged?" Wanjiku replied. "Yes, 2 years ago, after Chebet, after the child." The timeline rearranged itself violently in Wanjiku's mind. Chebet had been 5 years ago. The child was 3, and 2 years ago, that was when Kiprotich had started traveling frequently to Nakuru and Naivasha for supply chain contracts. Naliaka continued. "He told me his marriage in Nairobi was complicated but ending. He said culturally he had obligation up country, but legally he was restricting things." Restricting? Wanjiku almost smiled at the audacity of the vocabulary. Naliaka reached into her clutch and removed her phone. Photos, dinner dates, a ring, family introduction in Bungoma, Kiprotich kneeling during what looked like a private proposal at a lounge in Naivasha. "He paid dowry partially," she said. "My uncles were involved." Dowry? Again, Wanjiku felt something inside her shift from pain to clarity. This was no longer about betrayal. This was a pattern. "How did it end?" Wanjiku asked. Naliaka jaws tightened. "I found out about Chebet. He told me she was just a rural arrangement that had no legal weight. Then I found out about you." Silence. "So, what are you doing here tonight?" Wanjiku asked. Naliaka looked straight at her. "I came to see which wife was real." The music continued playing. The laughter continued. But between the two women, something gross settled. Wanjiku did not defend herself because suddenly she wasn't sure which role she was being assigned. Rural wife, city wife, financial sponsor, public cover. Across the lawns, Kiprotich finally noticed them standing together. His smile faded. Not panic, recognition. He knew Naliaka, which meant he knew exactly what this was. He excused himself from the officials and began walking towards them, slowly, measured. The kind of walk a man takes when he thinks he can still control the narrative. But narrative collapses when compartments collide. Naliaka stepped back slightly. "I don't want him," she said softly. "I just needed to know if I was crazy." Wanjiku looked at her carefully. "You are not." That was the first honest thing spoken that night. Let's breathe in for a minute as I ask you something, you guys. Out of topic, sorry. So, there is a dog in our neighborhood. that has been barking very weirdly continuously since yesterday. Yesterday it rained very heavily. I don't know if it rained at night because I haven't gotten out. Today is Thursday, yesterday was Wednesday, and it rained Wednesday, and it has been barking until right now. What time is it? I'm editing this video at 1 p.m. It is still barking even right now. I can hear it. So what are we supposed to do in such a scenario? I think the dog is sick. The dog needs some help, and I don't know how we can just assist the dog, You guys, if you know what you can do, please let me know. It's really barking, and it's not barking the normal barking way. It's like barking in a crying way. I don't think, if you can hear it, ebu ninyamaze nione kama mtasikia. I think it's sick or something. I don't know. By the time Kiprotich reached them, the dynamic had already shifted. "What's going on?" he asked lightly, forcing a smile. Wanjiku turned to him fully. "How many dowries have you paid, Kiprotich?" The question was calm, deeply calm. He glanced at Naliaka, then back at Wanjiku. "You are misunderstanding things." "How many?" she repeated. He did not answer, and in that silence, confirmation settled. Naliaka didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't expose him publicly. She simply nodded once at Wanjiku and walked away, leaving behind perfume and proof. That night in Runda, the air inside the house felt different, not exposed. Nimeshtuka. Guys, just a minute. Stima zilipotea, and guess what I used? That hizo zilikuja na my stand that I used shooting the video, and it helped me hadi stima zikarudi. Like, look at the light. Oh my god, I was so happy about them. I had to charge them venye stima zilirudi because they really helped. So guys, that is a reason you should invest in a good ring light stand, mirror inaitwa nini? Haya, stima zimerudi, tuendelee na story. Anyway, ni stand. I bought mine in China. When I buy items, like ilikuja nazo, nilinunua tu nikasema iwekwe kwa mizigo nini hivyo, Yep. That night in Runda, the air inside the house felt different, not tense, exposed. Wanjiku did not cry. She did not drop plates. She sat in the living room while Kiprotich paced. It's not what it looks like. It was exactly what it looked like. You are overreacting. 3 dowries, 1 legal wife, 1 rural wife, 1 engaged, and he still used the word overreacting. "You embarrassed me tonight," he said at some point. That was the moment something permanent shifted in her chest. Embarrassed him? Not broken her, not betrayed her, embarrassed him. The private investigator's second report arrived 2 days later, and this one was heavy because this time it wasn't just about women, it was about money. Large transfer over the past 6 years, business funds quietly redirected, construction materials, livestock, university fees, lodging payment, car installments, all from accounts linked to investigations Wanjiku had helped structure. She started tracing timelines. The Runda house renovation. Same month he completed Chebet's house. The new Prado he claimed was leased, registered under a company that had transferred funds to Naliaka's family during a dowry discussion. Even worse, the initial capital used to secure land back home had originated from a loan taken against Wanjiku's property without fully explaining its purpose. That was when the final realization landed. She had not just been emotionally betrayed, she had financed her own humiliation. The next confrontation was not emotional, it was administrative. She moved funds, locked account, consulted lawyers in Upper Hill quietly, changed passwords, secured company share. Kiprotich noticed when his access cards stopped working. He noticed when calls from suppliers started bypassing him. He noticed when the Range Rover logbook suddenly reflected different ownership terms. "What are we doing?" he demanded. "Closing compartments?" she replied. For the first time since the rural compound, he looked uncertain because the woman he could manage the finance, he could not. Word began to spread quietly through their circle, not loudly, not scandalous, but precise. The businessman with multiple dowries, the Runda wife who funded everything, the rural wife with the child, the Bungoma engagement, and suddenly doors began closing for him. Investors hesitated. Calls went unanswered. Chebet, having heard about Naliaka, confronted him. Naliaka, having learned about the financial manipulation, withdrew completely. And Wanjiku, she stopped sleeping on the edge of the bed. She moved into the master suite fully. He moved into the guest room. The house became divided. Two people, one roof, no illusions. One evening, as she stood alone in the quiet Runda living room, she realized something chilling. There must still be compartments she hadn't opened, because men who live double lives rarely stop at 3. And just as that thought settled, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stared at it. Let it ring once, twice, then answered a soft voice on the other side. "Are you Wanjiku? I'm calling about Kiprotich. I think you deserve to know the truth about Mombasa." And just like that, another door creaked open, another compartment, and this time it wasn't about marriage, it was about something more dangerous. The voice on the phone did not tremble. "I won't say my name," the woman from Mombasa said, "but I worked at the hotel he used to frequently. He wasn't coming for business." Wanjiko did not interrupt. He introduced himself as a developer looking for investors in coastal properties. He said, in the same suit every month, always with different women, young, very young, not wives, not dowries, just indulgence. "And he has pending bills," the woman added quietly, "large ones." The call ended, and something inside Wanjiku didn't shatter, it solidified. This was no longer about love or culture or lineage. This was about a man who had mistaken access for entitlement. That night, she did not confront him immediately. She waited. She gathered every document, every transfer, every lodge payment, every receipt, every dowry negotiation screenshot, every land registry copy. She printed them neatly, stacked them on the dining table. When Kiprotich walked in that evening, he knew something had shifted. The house was too quiet. The staff had been dismissed early. The gate security had been instructed not to open automatically anymore. He stepped into the living room and saw the files. He didn't sit. He didn't remove his shoes. What is this now?" he asked. Wanjiko stood by the staircase, calm, composed. "You have an hour," she said. He blinked. "For what?" "To pack." Silence. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. "You can't be serious." "I've transferred the property title to a trust. The accounts are frozen. The company shares are restricted. The lawyers will contact you tomorrow." He stared at her. "You're overreacting." "No," she said softly. "I'm restricting." The word hit him because he had used it before. He stepped closer. "You can't throw me out of my house." He held his gaze. "This house was purchased through my company, renovated using my account. The furnitures paid for my dividends. The security contract signed under my name." His jaw tightened. "You wouldn't dare." Wanjiku didn't raise her voice. She turned towards the hallway and called the security supervisor immediately. 2 men entered, not aggressive, just present. You have 1 hour, she repeated. That's when the mask fell. You are humiliating me, he snapped. Humiliation, she replied, is paying dowry for 3 women with your wife's money. The words landed hard. He stormed upstairs. The sound of drawers opening violently echoed through the house. Wanjiku didn't follow. She stood in the living room, looking at the staircase she had once walked down as a bride. The staff pretended not to hear the shouting. The security men stood respectfully by the door. 40 minutes later, Kiprotich came down with 2 suitcases, expensive ones, monogrammed, but rushed. He stood at the bottom of the staircase. You will regret this. Wanjiku tilted her head slightly forward. Closing compartments, he moved toward the door. But before he reached it, she said one more thing. Oh, and the Range Rover? He paused. It stays. His shoulders stiffened. You wouldn't. I already did. His car access had been disabled. The car logbook updated. The insurance transferred. He stared at her like he was seeing her for the first time, because he was. This was not the woman who observed quietly. This was the woman who audited. The gates opened. The suitcases were carried outside, and for a moment the scene felt unreal. 9 years of marriage reduced to luggage on a Runda driveway. He turned back one last time. You think you'll find better? She didn't hesitate. I already did. I found myself. The gate closed, and the silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was clean. But the story didn't come down after that, because Kiprotich didn't live quietly. Within days, he attempted damage control. He called elders. He called mutual friends. He tried painting Wanjiku as unstable, emotional, influenced by modern feminism. But documents don't panic. Statements don't lie. When the divorce filing went through, the evidence was detailed. Financial misrepresentation, unauthorized loans, misuse of marital funds, the rural house in Eldoret under investigation, the Nakuru apartment terminated, the Mombasa hotel debt, demand letter issued. Chebet eventually learned about the other compartment fully, and for the first time she confronted him publicly, not Wanjiku, him. In front of elders, in front of uncles, in front of the same community that had celebrated dowry, the narrative shifted. He was no longer the respected businessman, he was the man who overreached. Meanwhile, Runda changed. Wanjiku renovated the master bedroom, replaced the dining table, changed the security code. She hosted her first solo event 3 months later. A business network branch, successful women, investors, entrepreneurs, no ring on her hand, no explanation on her lips, just confidence. And the whispers, they changed tone. She threw him out. She funded everything. He had 3 dowries. She walked away with the empire. Kiprotich moved into a serviced apartment in Donholm, not by choice, by consequences, and sometimes late at night, when the house in Runda was finally quiet, Wanjiku would sit on the balcony alone, not crying, not angry, just thinking. How close she had come to staying, how close she had come to forgiving, how close she had come to beginning another compartment, but she didn't. She closed the door, locked it, and handed him his suitcases. Now the question is, does Kiprotich attempt one last comeback? Or does the new energy walk into Wanjiku's life when she least expects it? Because 40 minutes of packaging is just the beginning of a public collapse. We have come to the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have been watching as I cook my steak. And I told you earlier, guys, that my steak is going to be very, very well done. So as you can see, well, how I'm cooking my plantain, and then I'm gonna cook ugali hapo hivyo mwisho nikimalizia, kwa sababu kuna watu wezi kula plantain usiku, you know. Anyway, that aside, as we finish the video, I can tell you some few things. You know that guy. You know what, guys? Sometimes we enjoy the drama in stories, but in real life, it's not entertainment. Real life is you. If something feels off, don't ignore it. If you are building with someone, make sure you understand what you're building. Protect yourself emotionally, protect yourself financially, and most importantly, don't ever think starting over is failure. Sometimes starting over is the upgrade. Alright? Yeah. So now, guys, I am grateful. Promise me, guys. Share with your friends. We're really looking forward to monetizing this YouTube. I need, like, yeah, chance sana, but I'm so happy, guys.